Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast here. I am Jeffrey Kirby. As you can see, we, of course, have the boss Sanchez, a.k.a. Jarryd Sanchez. Jarryd, how the hell are you?
Good. Happy Thursday. Well, Friday to you guys are watching, but going good.
For
Looking great.
us, for me and Jarryd, we're recording this on Thursday. It is MLB Opening Day. And I'm gonna do something real quick. Now you didn't know about this, but I'm gonna do something here, and we're just gonna go ahead. It's a good day to celebrate. It's baseball. It's opening day. So for me, I have a bottle of this Weller Special Reserve. It's pretty easy to get in Ohio. For other places, it's like impossible to get. So we're gonna go ahead. We're just gonna kind of pour up here, and we're gonna toast to another year of baseball and another year where the Yankees will not win a World Series.
No.
Ah, yes. Ooh, that's good.
Won.
That's some good stuff.
They won today, though. That's all I can say.
Yeah, see, for me, I have not been able to watch my team yet because my team has not played because we have to start out in Seattle. So, therefore, we are... my time, we'll be playing in another about 3 hours. And at 10 o'clock is when I get to watch them play. This is that bullshit.
Oh, okay.
This is that bullshit. However, there is something that I do want to discuss. And it involves the Pirates. Yes, I am going to talk. We're going to talk about the Pirates for a minute. Because I want to get... There's an interesting thought when it comes to Bryan Reynolds. The reason why I bring this up and why I think this is such an intriguing topic, especially with Jarryd and I. Jarryd is a Yankee fan. They just go and sign whoever the hell. They don't have to worry about payroll. Their payroll is always going to be top 5. My favorite team, the Cleveland Guardians, we're a team that is very similar to the Pirates in terms of always being a bottom in the payroll and not really spending that much money, lower market, blah, blah, blah. But here's the difference, and here's something that's interesting about this. So, obviously, we've been talking... Pittsburgh Pirates fans have been talking about this whole Bryan Reynolds contract for months. It's been outside of Andrew McCutchen coming back to Pittsburgh to play for the Pirates. This has been the biggest topic, is... what are you going to do with Bryan Reynolds? Are you going to extend him? Are you just going to let this play out? Are you going to try to trade him? What are you going to do? Because this is the typical... So, Jarryd, I'll explain this to you because you don't understand what I'm about to say. For us small market teams, we go through this phase where we have this really great really great player, and then we wonder if we're going to be able to pay him, and if we can't, well, then we have to trade him away or just let him go for absolutely nothing. And that is exactly what feels like is going on with Bryan Reynolds. Because we don't know, like, there's been so many different reports coming out on who, what is the reason why this has not been done yet? Because apparently there was a deadline that was before the first pitch today, or yesterday for everyone watching, but today for you and me, Jarryd. And we don't know how close or how far they were, blah, blah, blah. Now, there was a couple reports here. Like, I saw something from Jason Mackey, who said, basically, on the Pirates offering Bryan Reynolds a $100 million contract, which would be by far the biggest contract in franchise history. And he said, I can't say that with 100% certainty, but I have a tough time believing that they'd still be talking if they did not. I'm pretty darn confident it's been over $100 million. So here's my thing, and then I'll get your opinion on this. Bryan Reynolds is, I want to say, 28. I'm going to look this up. Bryan Reynolds' age. So Bryan Reynolds, okay, so he turned 28 in January, so he's 28. How old is it? So wait, I might be, oh yeah, Aaron Judge did sign last year. How old was Aaron Judge when he signed last year?
Well, he signed this past season. He's
In
third.
2022, right?
This off season. So Literally, he was a free agent the whole time until I think earlier. Was it last year?
I thought it was last. I might be wrong. I might be very well. Okay, but regardless of how old was, well, I forget the contract and everything with Aaron Judge.
He's pretty much, I think, almost 30. He's 28, 29. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so he's about 28 to 30 somewhere. What was the how many years in was it?
It was like 4 or 5 years here. I can pull it up real quick.
Okay, because there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. Because okay, Aaron Judge's contract. Okay, so he had signed a 9-year, $360 million deal, and that was okay. So that was at the that was this offseason that we just passed through. Okay, so 9 years, $360 million, which averages about to $40 million per year.
He's 30 right now.
Okay, so he's 30. So you'll be paying him till he's 39. Now, the Yankees, that's whatever the Yankees are going to be able to spend regardless. Here's the issue, and here's the problem with the Pirates in this situation. This is not O'Neal Cruz that we're talking about in terms of age, where O'Neal Cruz is still ridiculously young, where you're not trying to do what what the Braves did with Ronald Acuna. They signed him real young and real early. And I think the same thing with Fernando Tatis, where he got signed young and early to where you were able to give him that big-ass deal that he got, but it's still worthy. See, I'm one of those people. I don't like having these 7, 8, 9, 10-year contracts unless you're doing it with someone like a Fernando Tatis Jr., where you know he's going to be an absolute superstar for that whole time, or at least about 70% of that time. You look at the Miguel Cabrera contract. You look at the Albert Pujols contract. You look at a lot of these big-time contracts. It just doesn't seem like it's that worth it in the backstretch. And that's my thing. He's 28 years old. I don't know if I would like for them to pay Bryan Reynolds till he's 35. Because what is he going to look like? I know with the Guardians, we had this a couple years ago with Francisco Lindor. We let him go. Now, obviously, a couple of the pieces that we got back in that deal, Andres Jimenez, we just re-signed him 7 years, $100-something million. And then Ahmed Rosario, they're looking at possibly extending him as well. So, but that's a different story. But actually, it's not a different story. The reason why, because the Guardians, what they did last year, they were actually, they were in the, they won their division. They made it to the ALDS. So they were willing to go ahead and invest more into this team. It's exactly what they did in 2016. They went to the World Series. They went to Game 7 against the best team in baseball. And what did they do? They upgraded their team in the next year. Where are the Pirates at when it comes to this? I'm not sure that they're ready yet. They're not ready yet. So unless you truly feel like that he's going to be a very vital part of when you become a good team, when you're ready, I'm not sure if I'm willing to pay for that. I'm not sure.
I can see definitely where you're coming from. I thought, from my perspective, like I said, I don't watch a lot of Pirates. I do watch here and there when the Yankees aren't playing. So he's an average player to me personally. Maybe a above average starter right now. I guess player. Like I said, I don't know much. The team hasn't done much better with or without him. It shows that.
I'm looking at Bryan Reynolds' stats last year. So Bryan Reynolds last year in 542 at-bats, 145 games played. He had 62 RBIs, 56 walks, 141 strikeouts, 27 RBIs, and hit 262. And now in 2021, in 559 at-bats and 159 games played, he hit 302, 24 homers, 75 walks, and 90 RBIs with 169 hits. So obviously the batting average dipped a little bit. The home run rate you had more home runs, struck out a lot more, got less on base, or walked less and drove in less runs. Now I understand that he also played in 14 less games. However, I'm just not sure if now he went 1 for 4 today with an RBI and a walk and a strikeout. So, well, in yesterday's game on opening day. I'm not sure if I'm the Pirates, I'm not sure if I'm willing to commit to 7 years. I would be willing to give him 5 years. 5 years at 20 million per year, 20 million AAV. So that's 5 for 100.
That's fine. That's perfect.
I would be more comfortable at 5 for 17 AAV. I don't know what that comes out to exactly. Now we know that he's not going to want that. Let's see, 5 times 17. That would be like 5 years, 85 million. We know that he's not going to take that, but that's where I would be comfortable signing Bryan Reynolds with the situation that the Pirates are in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, don't know much. I know Bryan Reynolds is a good player, but not like a superstar or anything like that. I don't know what kind of money he's really asking for, I guess, but maybe he'll trade him, go to another team.
Like, I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like it's this recycle, repeat kind of thing where with small market teams, you get a good player and then you don't pay him, you trade him, and it's like you try to figure out this thing of like, are you gonna get better or are you just kind of doing this every because
up and down. Yeah.
Now it doesn't help now. And I keep on mentioning the Guardians, but there's a reason for that. I was listening to Pittsburgh radio. Cleveland Guardians got brought up on multiple occasions this week. That's why I feel it is okay for me to bring them up in this situation. No, it literally happened on multiple occasions. Because I actually had a friend of mine who was bitching and complaining about how they weren't talking about the Guardians when they re-signed Andres Jimenez because they were talking about, I think, Lamar Jackson or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on the Cleveland's afternoon show. The afternoon show on 93.7 mentioned the Guardians way before the Cleveland show, which is very ironic, which is funny. But it was talking about this same exact thing when it comes to Bryan Reynolds. Like I said, I'm just not sure. 5 years was where I would be comfortable at. 6 years, maybe. I'm just not sure if I'm willing to pay him till he's 35, 36 years old. Because already, if you, like in your case, you feel like he might be an above average player. He's not O'Neal Cruz that we're talking about.
No, he's definitely not.
And I mean, O'Neal Cruz hit a home run already. You're seeing what he's going. You see what he's going to be. He's going to be that cornerstone piece for that franchise, for that success. If they want to be successful, he's going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to look this up too because I remember when the Brian Hayes deal happened last year. Now I want to see what his age is. So he's 26 years old and signed a 7-year deal. I want to say, I believe it was a 7-year deal. Let me look this up. Okay. Oh, it was an 8 years, $70 million. Okay. So
a great contract.
You get him for 8 years. But you're still paying him till he's only 33, 34, 30. You're still paying him. You're not going to be paying him much more into that. That's where, when I mentioned earlier, having the 8-year, the 9-year, the 10-year deal, this is the situation where it's okay because A, you're not spending $30, $40 million a year on one player. The base salary this year is $10 million, and then it kind of goes down to $7 to $8 million for the remainder of the contract. So it's like signing someone to an 8-year deal, but when the AAV is not that much, it's a kind of a different story, especially when he's supposed to be a guy that could be a potential Gold Glove winner at third base.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a great contract.
Yeah, and let me know down below, for everyone who is watching this on Premiere, drop your comments down below. How do you feel about what me and Jarryd have talked about when it comes to Bryan Reynolds? Now, we're both going to admit, we are not Pirates fans like number one by any stretch of the imagination.
They're my second team.
We follow, we kind of we'll pay attention to them, but we don't like watch them every single day like a lot of the like a lot of people in Pittsburgh do. I mean, I'm from Cleveland, so Jarryd's from Florida, so it's kind of harder to find. And the Pirates are never on national television, and the Guardians, very rarely. So it's like, unless you're going to go and watch it illegally, it's kind of hard for us to go watch it unless we're in Pittsburgh or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, just let us down below. What are your guys' overall thoughts on this? Because
Yeah, man,
It's
I don't know nothing about the roster besides O'Neal Cruz, Brian Hayes, Bryan Reynolds. Who else is on the team? That's pretty much
you
my
have
G-Man
former
Troy's on
Guardians
the
catcher
team.
Austin Hedges. You have Jack Sawinski. You have
Oh, this is Winsky. I heard of it.
you
G-Man
have
Choi, isn't he on the,
Carlos
he's on the
Santana. That's my
yeah,
man, Carlos Santana.
same team. G-Man Choi, I know from the Rays he got signed
G-Man
today.
Choi.
So,
G-Man Choi.
but yeah, no, the Pirates, they're I wish them the best. I want them to do good. I truly do, but they got a lot. They got a lot to do.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Hey,
All
great
right.
win, though. Great win for them. I'm glad they won, though. Great win.
Yeah. And now let's get into some more of what we're more comfortable talking about, what we have more knowledge in, which is obviously the Steelers and the NFL. We'll be honest with everyone. Okay. So, obviously, the Steelers within the last hour or so, they made a deal where they signed Keanu Neal to a 2-year deal. We'll get into that here shortly. I do want to talk about, starting off, some of the rule changes that's happened in the NFL. Now, I mentioned there were 3 rule changes and one that was not, but I think is the most important out of the ones that were not. And we'll get into that one actually right now. And that's roughing the passer not being reviewable. Now, this is exactly what it's like going back to the 2018 season with the whole thing with the Rams and Saints, where you had that BS pass interference call. Then 2019, they reviewed it. It was all bad, except for the one game against the Seahawks, week 2, where they actually, reversed a pass interference, and it's, one of the very few times. I remember that distinctly.
Yeah.
I was sitting in this exact chair where I'm at watching that game. I was so pissed because it was against DK Metcalf too.
Yeah, that one season of reviewing pass interference was very rough, very rough, very very rough. With the NFL, with the roughing the pass caller, it's kind of it's getting worse every season as you think of it. With these calls,
You're not wrong.
Not being reviewable. It's not good. There has to be somewhat of a change. Besides, if it can't be reviewed, what can we do?
I think after the 2017 seasons when it really has gone downhill, it was that whole Aaron Rodgers injury with Anthony Barr.
Yep.
I believe it was either Eric Kendrick or Anthony Barr, one of the two. But everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. The year they broke his collarbone, he was out for the year. Mm-hmm. But
anyways, it's just I don't know what else they should do. And it's not good personally. Should have done something.
Now, let me ask you this: do you think it should have would you have liked this rule to be? Would you have liked for this rule to pass? Yes or no? Or are you okay with it not?
I would like for it to test it like we did with the pass interference, just to see how it works. Personally, I would be okay with it if it was passed, but if it's not, I'm not going to be, all dumbed out about it. But it's how it is. What it is. What they want to do.
Here's my issue: if they would have done that, they're just going to stick with their call anyway. That's how it was with the pass interference call. It felt like 98% of the time, I don't know the exact number, but it felt like 98% of the time, they were just going to stick with their call.
Mm-hmm.
They were just going to stick with their call, so at the end of the day, it really don't matter. Now you're losing a challenge. You're losing a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
So, at the end of the day, I hate the roughing the passer rule or the call because there's been so many times, and I'm not saying with just the Steelers. It's literally all 32 teams. There have been such BS roughing the passer calls where it's like the dude is barely what do you look at that particular moment? It don't care what team it is. You watch someone get sacked, they call the roughing the passer. It's like, what are you supposed to do at that point?
What if they
I'm not saying go back to the 1970s, but God forbid, it's like I understand that, yes, we have, the whole safety thing. I get it. But goddamn, we're turning this into flag football, it feels like. You touch someone. Nope, flag.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, maybe there should be like initiation from like New York or something to like have flags be looked at personally. Something like that. Nothing like worth challenge wise. At least it's something. Like you don't lose a challenge and waste a timeout just for throwing a challenge over a flag.
But my
Roughing the
issue with
passer.
that would probably be they're just gonna probably stick with the. I mean, now
And then that's what your argument. They will stick with the same call, which I could see that most likely happening, but it's
that's
just
why
something
this
that
whole
happened.
thing is just beyond annoying. Because, I mean, we could think of. I mean, Cam Hayward's had that a couple times, and there's been times where we've gotten bailed out from it. There's been times where, it's so annoying. On
It's
all
bad.
ends, everyone is annoyed with the roughing the passer call, unless it benefits you in that exact moment. But at the end of the day, we all know that call half the time is bullshit.
Oh yeah, agreed.
All right, so back into just another smaller one. Players can now wear the number 0. I like this because it's like whatever, it's cool. I mean, it's cool, whatever. I saw some people saying it was weird about like linebackers being able to wear single numbers. I like it, cool. Pass rushers being able to wear single numbers, I love it.
It's not. It's
Like,
a number, personally.
like, huh?
It's just a number.
Well,
I get it.
like for an example, like for me at Ohio State, Chase Young wearing number 2, that's kind of nasty.
Mhm.
That is hard. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa wear 97. Yes, they look good, but number 2 on a nasty defensive end, holy shit. Oh boy. That I don't know. It's just there's something about it.
Yeah, I get it. I wonder who's going to wear number 0 now.
Are the Steelers going to allow it? Because apparently they don't let you wear the number 1. Are they going to let anyone wear the 0?
They should.
We all know how this goes.
It's just a number. They probably won't. We're old school.
We all know how the Steelers are. Exactly. Exactly.
You can tell by the.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great when the Steelers draft Christian Gonzalez and then he's able to wear number 0.
Oh my god.
Hey, you're supposed to like that.
I know. I'm like obvious. No, not like that. No, I am excited. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh my god, if that happens,
That would be chef's kiss.
With these signings that just happened in the last hour, these first 3 picks, it's gonna be something different. You don't know.
The flexibility that you will have is unreal.
Now I can't be angry if they draft Jordan Addison at 32. Will you still be angry? I wouldn't. I'll be shocked, but would I be
30?
upset? No.
Not as upset, but I still would be like, whatever. But you know what's gonna be even better?
No.
You know what's gonna be even better?
No, we're not getting him either.
You don't even know who I'm gonna say.
I already know who you're gonna say.
Where am I gonna go with this then?
I swear you say Taylor Wan's name.
No, I was thinking Isaiah Witt. No, I'm just kidding. No, you were right. When Taylor Lewan comes, no, I'm just kidding. If for all those, if you are a new viewer to this for this week, we have this running gag where I want Taylor Lewan, he does not, so I mess with him every single week about it.
Give me Broderick Jones at 17. That's all I ask for.
Now, we have a mock draft that we're going to look at here shortly, Bucky Brooks' mock draft. Now, last week we looked at Daniel Jeremiah's. Daniel Jeremiah's had the Steelers take a Broderick Jones.
God,
Thank
please.
you. Now, we'll see what Bucky Brooks does here in a little bit from NFL.com. We'll see. But I'm begging. I'm begging.
Begging for a
but
tackle
like you said,
or corner.
The flexibility that you have with these first 3 picks, like you said, 17, 32, and 49 is unreal. You could go with a linebacker. You could go with a corner. You could go with an offensive tackle. You can go with an interior defensive line if you want. You can go so many different places. Wide receiver. We'll add that. That's 5 positions that you could possibly go at with the first 3 picks.
They could go anywhere, man. It's just, oh God, now it makes it a little bit harder for mock drafts. What do you think it's gonna be? Not a little, not too much harder, but
Well, I mean, it's just
they
a
could go.
matter of like, you just kind of work
Who's there?
yeah, it's just a matter of who's going to be there. Who's the best available at that particular position, or, it's just one of those deals. That's kind of how I look at it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It always comes like BPA always,
Yeah.
but we'll see what happens. Less than a month away till draft, so
Less than a month, baby. I can't wait.
less than a month. April 27th.
And we'll be live right here on the Renegade Roundtable YouTube channel. Well, Jarryd may not be because he'll be out, but me and Hunter will definitely be. Maybe our boy Herb will be on. So we'll see. It's going to be an absolute blast.
I should be on for a segment, probably. That's probably what I plan on doing.
We'll see. All right. We kind of got off track there for a minute, but I do want to there's two more rule changes that I really feel like that we need. I would want to discuss. This is the one that we're about to mention now is the big one and this is probably the biggest rule change that everyone is talking about. And that's the Thursday night football flex schedule. Now, I think it's like once you hit week 14, games can be flexed into Thursday night football. So, here's the issue that we're running into. For someone like Jarryd goes to games. He is from Florida. He has, every time he wants to go to Pittsburgh, he has to fly. What is it, like a 2-hour flight?
Yep, 2.5.
2.5 hour flight to get to Pittsburgh. There's a bunch of us, like in our group chat, there's a bunch of people where if they want to go, they have to fly. There's obviously the people that live in Pittsburgh, and then like someone like me where I have the luxury of just being able to drive 2.5 hours and I'm okay. But regardless for that, the issue that I have with this, now it's between once you get to like week 14 and on, here's my issue with this. I have multiple issues with this. Number one, it seems like the NFL just doesn't simply give a damn about player safety. Now, there are some players that do actually like this because it's like, you get in, you get out quicker, then you get you could get the extra rest on the back end. But to me, it seems like a lot of, Patrick Mahomes quote tweeted, the like emojis.
I think they just made it harder for themselves to make the schedule. They just made it a lot harder for themselves.
Like we have to look at it from their perspective because there's a lot of times where players say it doesn't get till Thursday or Friday when they start to feel, when they start to act, feel somewhat of more recovered. It takes them to Thursday or Friday to get to recover enough to get ready for the next game. But to go from a Sunday game and then have to go right back and play on Thursday on multiple occasions, I just simply don't think that's. And the part that pisses me off even more, and there's a reason, and it's gonna piss off a lot of others, is the fans. Because what is that? Now you have there's like a 2-week notice of when this can happen. But say the Steelers are playing let's just say 49ers for an example, and you're planning on going to San Francisco to watch the game, and you have that trip booked, ready to go. It's a Sunday 1:00 game. You are good to go. Oh, now all of a sudden, now it's a Thursday night game. What about those people that had to pay for the flights, pay for the hotels? You know how much? You know how hard it is to get that stuff changed, and how expensive those trips can be. Like, Jarryd, for an example, is the perfect example of that. Like I mentioned, he has to fly when he wants to go to Pittsburgh to go to games. He has to fly 2.5 hours. He has to spend money on those hotels. You know how expensive that is and how hard it is to change those kind of things? And then on top of that, what if you have kids? And then you got to worry about, now you got to change everything when it comes to babysitting, or if you got animals. It's just a whole mess of trying to change that. And then I like what the owner of the Giants said. The Giants owner, he said, quote, "It was really inconsiderate to our season ticket holders and to people who fill our stadiums every week." He was completely opposed to this, 1,000,000,000%.
I would be too. I'm sure a lot of people are.
You're the one that should be having more of the issues with this because you are in that exact situation, the kind of demographic that gets affected the most.
Well, because now I pray on the games that I go to this year don't fall at the end of the season because anything could happen.
Well, I mean, now luckily for you, the home opener guaranteed that's happening. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then so what is your other games? What the Jags game?
The Jags game, and maybe Houston, going to Houston.
Okay, so it's like, so at that point you're kind of now, hey, not only for weather purposes, but for those games you're kind of hoping that they're still like in the middle-ish part of the season where you don't have to worry about, oh boy, do I have to worry about do I have to worry about my ticket or this game getting switched over to Thursday night, blah blah blah. Now maybe the Houston game I don't think you have to worry about, but if we're gonna be completely honest, I think that one is gonna be safe. Just a judgment. Unless Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud just comes out and starts turning into the second coming of 2004 Ben Roethlisberger and turns that team completely around in 1 year, I highly doubt you have to worry about that. The Jags game, on the other hand, now that is a game that I would be kind of worried about because the Jags are supposed to be good this year. We'll see where the Steelers are at, and especially if those are later on in the year. And if there's potential playoff spots on the line, you could bet your ass there's a good shot that game would be flexed into Sunday or into Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, and that'll be hard to take off work.
Yep, and that's there's so many factors to this that we're working on getting to the point where we're just gonna have primetime football all 7 days out of the week. Mm-hmm. I mean, you saw with COVID. I mean, the Steelers played the Ravens on a Wednesday.
Yep.
The Browns and Raiders played a game on a Tuesday because you had that fiasco. There were so many games where it just got moved all around because, I mean, the Steelers right after that Ravens game, the Steelers game got moved to Monday night. So you literally were seeing games. You saw a game of football every single day of the week. You saw a Monday game, Tuesday game, Wednesday game, Thursday game, Friday game, Saturday game. Maybe not Friday.
NFL's all about money. That's all it is.
And that's exactly what it is. It used to be, at one point of time, the NFL would say, Christmas Day, that's the NBA's, we'll play most of our games, Now, no, they don't give a damn about anything. They're going to play, and they know that they're going to outbeat the ratings. In fact, I think it happened this year on Christmas. The NFL games outdid the NBA games, and the NBA supposed to, Christmas is supposed to be the NBA's day. No. The NFL said, yeah, we're taking this over now. It's ours. Thanksgiving, ours. Halloween, ours.
With this is rule, man. I just hope it doesn't really affect whenever the schedule comes out in May, and then when the season starts. For me, at least, I know it's gonna happen to somebody. It's gonna suck, but it's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately.
That's my thing. Or I would be so pissed. And like you said, it's all about the money. It's all about the ratings. It's all about. You know how much I wonder about this too is because a lot of those games last year had Al Michaels almost wanting to fall asleep on live television. Jeff Bezos paid $5 trillion to get that deal. So he's going to obviously want a better product out there. So of course, this is a way for you to get better content, get better quality of play in games that actually matter on Thursday Night Football.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, we'll see what happens. I said when that time comes, if something happens to me, I'm gonna be pissed. Exactly. I'm gonna be very pissed. Exactly. Good luck getting my money back. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, you are just gonna be straight up SOL. Now, the other one that was interesting was making tripping a personal foul call.
Now, what's considered tripping?
You trip someone.
I know. So, like with your arm, your leg?
probably with your leg. Because, if you're using it with your arm, I don't really think that you would be able to consider that tripping.
I know, but...
Unless you're like on the ground and then and you go to like grab someone's leg, something like that. And if you're not going to make a tackle, that I could see.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that's what you're. But I mean, at the end of the day, some of these tripping calls could be very. It can be bang bang. It could also, but at the end of the day, this is one where it's like whatever. We'll like it when it helps us, and we'll get pissed off when it hurts us.
Yep.
But it also could be one of those deals that you could get injured on. So.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I'm not really too irritated about this. You know what? Yeah, this one's kind of like a whatever.
It's whatever.
All right. We had an old friend of ours back in the 412 as of yesterday for everyone that's watching. Today for you and me. Good old Alvin Bud Dupree was in Pittsburgh. Straight up, do you want him back?
For the right price.
What is the right price?
A cheap deal?
Is the price right? The price is right.
Yeah. A cheap deal would be a good backup.
Well, what is a cheap deal? Throw me a number.
Jeez.
Because what I could consider cheap and what you could consider cheap are two totally different things. I mean, you live in Florida. What I consider expensive, you probably say, oh, that's chump change.
I'll probably say $2 to $3 million, maybe at most. Like a 1-year deal.
I'd be okay with that. I mean, just like a 1 year,
prove it deal.
$2.5 million. We'll just split it up. $2.5 million deal. Bring him back. He knows his role. He knows he's going to back up Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt. And it's going to be one of those games where that at times he can possibly bring something back. That when you have TJ Watt on the opposite side, we saw what Bud Dupree can do. So at the end of I would kind of hope that I wouldn't be mad with him coming back. In fact, I'd actually kind of like it.
Yeah, I would like it for sure.
Because over the last couple of years, we've had this thing of we're trying to bring in. We needed a third guy to bring in for the rotation to try to, give someone a breather. Before it was Alex Highsmith when you drafted him, then he was kind of that rotational piece. But Dupree goes, now it's Alex Highsmith. And then you were Derek Tuska, I think, was a guy.
Tuska.
And then last year you had Malik Reed. We were kind of hyped up on Malik Reed last year, but he was kind of like meh. But you just want someone that you can get, because we all know TJ Watt's not going to play 100% of the snaps. He's going to probably play about 80 to 85% of the snaps when he's out there healthy. So if you could get someone to come in and just be that rotational piece and make any sort of impact, I'm okay with that. That's exactly what we need out of you. That's all we need.
Agreed. That's it. Just need a couple sacks when we need them.
And
pressure.
And like I mentioned earlier, too, the Steelers within the last now probably hour and a half to 2 hours, the Steelers are signing a veteran safety Keanu Neal to a 2-year deal. So last week's episode was such a fiasco. My computer was just going straight to hell. So I don't remember if you guys got to hear our conversation about the safeties, but the safety position was a position that obviously with Terrell Edmonds going to Philadelphia, you were going the Brian Branch thing kind of got included. Antonio Johnson was a guy. I haven't heard much of Antonio Johnson, but he's a guy from Texas A&M. You could probably sneak in there like at 32. He was another guy that if he were to fall to 32, you could possibly look at him. But yeah, but at the end of the day, cool, whatever. You brought back DeMonte Casey. He's going to kind of be the backup to Minka. So now you have a 3-headed monster with Minka, Keanu Neal, and DeMonte Casey. Keanu Neal is one of those guys. He has experience playing in the box. So that's kind of nice. We always talk about having guys that you can put in the box. If you want to make a sub package where you want to put Keanu Neal as like a linebacker, some sort, play him in the box, have DeMonte Casey out there with Minka. And if you want to somehow make that work, that would be kind of intriguing.
I'm happy with this sign. Very happy with this signing. It's a great, it's a great depth piece personally, just to have someone on the roster. And you can still draft a safety if needed. Like I said, if Brian Branch is still there, you can still get him, work his way in there.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how this. I mean, like it's not anything huge, obviously. A lot of people were talking about possibly bringing in John Johnson. He was pretty good with the Rams. Went to Cleveland, got the Cleveland Browns stink on him, and now no one wants to sign him because, of course, he has that Brown stink on him. So a lot of people thought about trying to bring him in. He could have been cheap. He was the guy that was very smart and could play. People thought about trying to bring him in. Clearly, that ended up not being the case. They bring in Keanu Neal to play that free safety position.
They signed another nose tackle today as well.
Yeah, they signed. I'll be honest, I know like nothing about him.
I don't know much about him.
Breeden Fehiko from the Chargers.
Breeden Fehiko.
I have zero clue who he is. I will be 1,000,000,000% honest.
Welcome to the team, man. I hope you do well. That's what
I am now curious, and I am going to look up some stuff about him right here, right now.
Well, they talked about him a little bit in the group chat. He was the guy does the Haka chant with his dad, but at LSU.
Oh yeah, okay. So
he's that guy.
Yeah. So he's 26 years old. He'll turn 27 in October. 6'3", 300 pounds. Just a rotational piece. Whatever. Be able to clog up the inside.
Yep.
Nothing crazy.
Happy with that. Like I said, like we talked a little bit about earlier, it affects the draft. Kind of. Mostly. We'll see. I don't know. And you should get the draft hat if you can, because I'm clearly wearing it right now.
Which, yes, thank you for bringing that up, because you and me had talked about that right before the show, and then we kind of got all hell broken into, with baseball and stuff. What are your guys' thoughts on the draft hats? Now, you have the flat bill edition.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of flat bills anymore. I'm old. I know you're still a youngin'. I'm an old pup now.
What do you mean old pup? I'm older than you.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Are you? I thought you were younger than me.
I'm 25.
I'm 27.
No, you're not.
I know.
No, you're not. I was about to say, Kirby. There's no...
I don't know why I thought you were younger than me for a minute. But no. I don't know. I stick to these now, just kind of like the old, the curved bills. But the actual design of the hat, I like. I really like this too. It's like, what is that, like a cream color?
Yeah, it's a cream color.
I like that a lot.
It's a cream color, and then you got the Steeler logo right there. The nice, good Steelers.
That, you know what? It's almost kind of giving me like an old starter hat vibe.
It's looking like it. I don't know if there's anything on the back. I didn't really look at it. Probably not, if I had to guess. Oh, they have the Steeler logo on the back.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. But I like it. I like this hat. I'm glad I bought it. I don't care.
I actually might get that. That's actually a draft hat I might actually go out and purchase.
Because this is the hat. It's probably one of the better hats I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I like that hat a lot. So let me know down below, guys. What are your guys' thoughts on the draft hat? And you know what else we're going to do? We're going to also figure out how we all feel about good old Bucky Brooks, because we have yet again another mock draft that we are going to look at. This becomes the weekly routine to see how he has the draft going. And holy shit, you want to talk about a headline? The Colts pass on a quarterback and Will Levis falls out of the first round. Oh, buddy. You know what? By the way, so I have kind of this inside thing with my boy Hunter. Again, he's going to be the host of the Renegade Roundtable draft show April 27th. And I brought up this discussion with him earlier this week about, is there a chance that Hendon Hooker can be drafted before Will Levis? He says not a chance in hell. And I said, are you sure about that? He goes, absolutely. I said, I think that there's an actual shot at this.
Surprisingly, yes.
I think there is a shot at it. It seems like Will Levis' stock is kind of going, and it seems like Hendon Hooker's is like not going up, but it's like when you're kind of doing like if this is Hendon Hooker and this was Will Levis and you're just kind of doing this, oh wait a minute, here we go. Mm-hmm. But it also seems like people think it also could be kind of going like this, in a little small incline for Hendon Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what Mr. Bucky Brooks here has with his mock draft 1.0. With the first pick in the 2023 NFL draft, he has the Carolina Panthers selecting C.J. Stroud, and I can just go ahead. It peeped down at the bottom. We'll show it because we knew exactly what was going to happen. We'll just kind of talk about these two picks. Not a surprise. I've said this on numerous occasions. Bryce Young just feels like a Houston Texan quarterback, and C.J. Stroud just feels like a Carolina Panther quarterback.
Totally agree. I think this will not change at all until the draft, possibly.
When we get to that week of the draft, that's when we'll really find out. That's typically how it goes. Last year when it came, I know it's not quarterback. Last year, the week of the draft, we started hearing a little bit more rumblings about Trayvon Walker. What happens? They go with the Jags go with Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall. 2018, the last time that we had a questionable quarterback, we didn't know who the first quarterback was going to be. A lot of people thought the Browns were going to take Sam Darnold, a little bit of Josh Allen. Then, right before the draft, you got a little bit of inklings of Baker Mayfield. What do? They go and draft Baker Mayfield. So that week of the draft, when you start to hear those rumblings, that's when you really have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you really have to pay attention to things. But for now, with a little under a month to go until the NFL draft, this is how, in my opinion, I would want the first 2 picks to look like.
Yep, agreed.
And I'm assuming he's going to have the Cardinals going with Will Anderson, and absolutely, no surprise. We've talked. This just seems like if they're going to stick with this pick, this just seems like the most guaranteed pick.
Most guaranteed.
Most guaranteed, unless they were to somehow shock us with Jalen Carter, which I don't think is going to happen.
No.
Number 4, the Indianapolis Colts. They do not go and draft a quarterback. They do not go after Anthony Richardson. They go after Tyree Wilson. So
I hate it.
So are they going to are they still going to try to tank for the Caleb Williams?
It's probably what it is, but they're going to really stick with Gardner Minshew? For the season? Come on.
I mean, I could have understood if you wanted Gardner Minshew as a bridge guy because this is the exact situation where someone like Anthony Richardson would fit in perfect. Gardner Minshew is a guy that he could be a bridge guy. Because I don't think Anthony Richardson is going to be ready day 1. So what do? You bring in a bridge guy until Anthony Richardson is ready. You'll be able to get Anthony Richardson on the board, ready to go or you'll be able to get him on the field and use his ability, use his athletic skills. You'll be able to have an Anthony Richardson package out there to use his athleticism. But to not take a quarterback here, I
don't know.
Especially with the fact that you've been doing the whole veteran old quarterback thing since Andrew Luck is retired. Why not go and get your possible franchise quarterback? Everyone seems to be so high on Anthony Richardson. Why not go and get that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jeremiah has been talking about, it's Joe Klatt. Joe Klatt, one of my favorite analysts in all of college football. Basically, he was talking about how he thinks that there's a shot that Anthony Richardson could end up being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, one of the best players in the NFL if he can hit that ceiling. If you have the chance to go and get that guy, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Totally agree. It's says it right there. Like, I don't know why you go with an edge guy. You guys have been needed quarterback for so long. So long.
I don't know, man. And then we'll go at number 5 to Seattle with Jalen Carter. Now, this one is not obviously going to get me worked into a shoot like I was at number 4.
No.
Jalen Carter, we've mentioned this on numerous occasions. There's a couple guys that can handle character child problems. Pete Carroll is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, but Jalen Carter going number 5, not a shocker. Number 6, the Detroit Lions going with Devin Witherspoon. So they still go with the first corner off the board. Now, for us Steeler fans, if you are still looking into getting a corner, you're kind of upset at it, but at the end of the day, it's like it is what it is. They still obviously they had gotten Cam Sutton. They did lose Mike Hughes. They had lost another, I can't pronounce his name, to the Giants. So you lost a couple corners. So, and then you still have Jeffrey Okudah. He's going to be into a third year. That's going to be a very pivotal year for him. Devin Witherspoon is a guy that could possibly, to me, he kind of reminds me of Joe Hayden coming out of Florida. And Joe Hayden, in his early parts of the year of his career, was a very good corner. A very good corner.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could get, hey, Detroit add into that defense, salute.
Salute.
Number 7, the Las Vegas Raiders go with Christian Gonzalez. And so they are not going with, obviously, the quarterback that you apparently are just so hell-bent on, unless you're trying to fit it into the narrative that it drops one of those tackles and one of those corners down even lower. It doesn't help your narrative of they should be getting a quarterback because that is not happening.
In this situation, don't rule it out, though. That's what I'll say. Don't rule it out.
We'll drink to that.
Don't rule it out. Will Levis here at number 7. Just telling you that right now.
So in this case, you would rather go Will Levis over Anthony Richardson?
No, of course not.
Oh, I thought that's what you just said.
But I'm just saying, for the Raiders, don't rule out Will Levis.
I
know, but you think I'm joking? I'm not. I'm just saying it's possible. It's the Raiders.
The most Raiders thing would be for them to.
It would be the most Raiders way if they get Will Levis.
No, the most Raiders thing that they could do is take Jalen Carter if he's there.
Okay, now.
Am I wrong?
Okay, now.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. But
Thank you. Thank you. Champions pose. Away we go to number 8. Number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. They go with Lucas Van Ness. So one of those offensive tackles are not coming off the board. So you have a better shot of going with one of those offensive tackles if you were looking for that in the Pittsburgh Steelers with the Atlanta Falcons. Who was 31st in sacks last year, by the way, is how we mentioned that. And so they go and add Calais Campbell from Baltimore. Thank you, Atlanta. Get him. I understand he's about 95 and a half years old. He's still a pretty good player. Get him the hell out of my division. Get him the hell out of my conference. So, Atlanta, salute. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Atlanta.
I am riled up today for some odd reason.
No, I think you're just riled up because you talk about Will Levis at 7, which is still possible.
Oh, no, I got riled up about number 4, too.
Well, that too.
So
that is very true.
All right, number 9, the Chicago Bears go with Peter Skoronski. So they go and get the tackle of their future to protect Justin Fields.
I feel like this pick for the Bears is looking more like this, like a lock. You know, not saying guaranteed lock. Like Peter Skoronski, I could just see it.
If you had to give one lock right now.
Not one lock. Oh,
no, I'm just saying. No. I'm saying if you had to give one lock, one player to one team, if you had to give a lock right now, what would it be?
Ooh. Man, you can put me on the spot. That's a tough one. It really is.
And y'all can comment down below too. What
Yeah,
are your guys's what are your guys's, if you had to give one lock for the first round of a player to a team, who would it be?
one lock. That could be.
And it can't be, oh, CJ Stroud to the Panthers or something like that. Make it
No.
not one of the top two quarterbacks.
I think the most makes sense lock is Will Anderson to the Cardinals at 3. Unless you want to go further down.
Well, I'm surprised for you. Your lock isn't Will Levis or Anthony Richardson to number 7 to the Raiders.
Okay, now. I'm just saying Will Anderson to the Cardinals looks like it's the most lock at number 3.
Okay. We'll move on to number 10 to the Philadelphia Eagles. They go with Nolan Smith. So Nolan Smith goes even higher and higher and higher. Now, if I'm Philly, so I had a thought. I just had a thought pop up in my head as I was mentioning the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Philadelphia Eagles, we know that they lost Miles Sanders, and I'm not saying for them to take a running back here at 10. I'm not saying that. Assuming that Bijan Robinson is already gone, I wouldn't be opposed for them to look at Jahmyr Gibbs at pick 30. At that 30th spot.
I agree.
He's a guy that could be like an Alvin Kamara kind of player for them. Why not go after someone like that? If you want someone to give you explosiveness out of the backfield, now unless you feel like there's other positions that you want to fill out first, then that's okay as well. But if you want to continue on being like maybe a run, like one of those running teams, why not give someone like that? And on top of that, he could be a big threat out of the backfield too. To me, Jahmyr Gibbs is the best best pass catching running back to come out of this draft since Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
And I am on record on that.
Yeah, you are.
Unless I decide to edit it out. No, I'm just kidding. I am not going to do that. I'm going to keep it on. And so I can either look like a fool or I can look like a genius. We shall see. But overall, Philadelphia, number 10 here with Nolan Smith. I'm on board with them going anywhere on that defensive line. Get some defensive line. Get some younger guys to help retool and redevelop that defensive line. Wherever you want to go with that, I'm okay.
Yep, agreed.
Number 11, the Tennessee Titans go with Paris Johnson. So the second, okay, so I accidentally just kind of did this. So you know what? I'll bring this up like this for a reason. Number 1, I like to pick at number 12, Jackson Smith and Jacob going to Houston. I like the need there. But I'm wondering if Tennessee would possibly be really thinking about going wide receiver at number 11.
Oh, man.
Like, I completely understand them wanting to go Paris Johnson. I have no issues with that. But it keeps on trickling in the back of my mind. I know they got Treylon Burks last year, but how do they really feel about him? Maybe someone like a Jackson Smith and Jigba may not be a bad idea at all.
I agree. But we'll see what happens. Everyone just going with the tackle, with their left tackle replacement.
But yeah, with this, in terms of the need, in terms of like value, great. I have no problem with that. But yeah, with that pick 12, when it comes to Houston, I like it too. You got Bryce Young. Now you get Jackson Smith and Jigba. You get a guy that can continue, you give your young quarterback as many weapons as possible. So why not? I have no issues with this pick at all. All right, so moving on to pick number 13, the New York Jets. So the Jets going with Osiris Torrance. Okay. The highest I've seen him going a little bit. So they go not with the offensive tackle that a lot of people thought they might go with. but instead they go with an interior offensive lineman.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, want to build out that offensive line? Okay. I have no issues with that.
Go for it.
But in this case, they go with the interior part of it? Okay. I haven't seen Osiris Thorne's name this high in a while. We shall see. Now, at pick number 14, and as per usual, New England decides to break our hearts.
As always.
New England breaks our hearts once again. Bill Belichick, screw you. Screw you. You know what? You know what Bill Belichick is saying? You know what? We'll take Broderick Jones. You guys can have Isaiah Wynn.
No. I knew you would say that.
When it comes to Bill Belichick, whatever that, they could go so many different ways. It's just, I'm wondering if Jackson Smith and Jigba was there at 14, would they go with someone like him? Do they? I got this for some weird feeling. I mean, I understand that they got Juju, but you also lost Jacoby Myers. Their wide receiver core is not good. You have Mac Jones who's going into a pivotal third year. I would wonder if they would really consider going after a receiver here. We talked about the Brian Branch thing. Could they possibly go with someone like that? Can they, someone to have that much kind of versatility? Hell, I even brought up the possibility of them going with DeJuan Jones here at pick 14. I'm being completely honest. That's just the way you have to think with Bill Belichick.
Yep. He'll take anybody.
Or, God forbid, will he stay at this spot? Because we all know there's 3 guarantees in life. Death, taxes, and the New England Patriots trading down in an NFL draft. We shall see. Number 15, the Green Bay Packers go with Myles Murphy. So they don't go with one of the tight ends that we're used to seeing them go with, but instead they go with Myles Murphy. Now this isn't a bad idea. Now they were pretty good against the pass. They were middle of the road on defense. Yards per pass, they were 25th on yards per pass. They were 28th in the NFL in sacks. They were pretty good in getting off on third down, but the sacks thing is when you're 28th in sacks, you have to improve that. And how do you do that? You would invest that into the draft. And I understand, if tight end is one of the deepest positions in this class, they may feel, listen, we could go and get a tight end later on in the draft and can still be impactful. Why not go and get a guy that we know is a first-round graded guy? I'm not saying that someone like a Dalton Kincaid or a Michael Mayer is not, but why not go with Myles Murphy here? I actually don't mind this pick. This is like, it throws a little bit of a loop in there, but it's a loop I actually kind of enjoy.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know what the Packers are doing now. Honestly, I was just thinking tight end more than anything else. But
like I said, if that position is as deep as we're all saying it is, you have the flexibility to do that. Yeah. If you want to use that later on in the draft. Number 16, the Washington Commanders. They go with Joey Porter Jr. here. Okay. So let's talk about this. We're going to talk about this from the Washington perspective, and then we're going to talk about this with the Steelers pick coming up next. Because this is one of those situations where you kind of get thrown into a loop. You don't know what what are they going to do in this situation? But in terms of Washington itself, I like this idea. They were 28th in interceptions. They'd only got 9 interceptions last year. They were 11th against, or no, they were actually 4th against the pass last year. But why not add to that secondary? Joey Porter Jr., he's one of those outside man-to-man guys. I don't think he could play, I don't think he's going to play slot. I don't think he can. And I just feel like he's a guy that's just going to be kind of on the outside. And he's going to play that press man-to-man, put him on your top receiver, and let him lock you down. He has long-ass arms for a corner. So, you know what? Cool. Ron Rivera, he'll find a way to use him.
Mm-hmm. Now.
So, we look at this from the Steelers' perspective, and we're not going to look at this just yet. We're not going to look at their pick just yet. Let's talk about some scenarios here. So, the top 3 offensive tackles are gone.
Yep.
Your top 3 corners are off the board.
Yep.
We talk about the flexibility. Talk about some of the guys that are still there. What do they do here?
Man.
Do they still go with someone like a Deonte Banks from Maryland? Do they go with a Kalijah Cansey? Do they go with a Brian Branch? Do they go with a let's see, Lucas Van Ness is gone. Is there an edge rusher that might be out there they would be intrigued in? I'm not sure.
DeJuan Jones, Darnell Wright.
See, Darnell Wright doesn't, as much as I love DeJuan Jones, and unless you're going to move Chooks to the left side, I don't think that either of those guys can move to the left side. And I don't know how I feel about Chooks moving to the left side.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at on that. Maybe an Anton Harrison? You want to go with someone like that? That's a guy that could play left tackle and played pretty damn well for Oklahoma.
It's a tough spot. What to do at this spot?
We'll see. We're going to find out. With the 17th pick, they go with Deonte Banks. Okay. So that's someone that we mentioned. Well, that I mentioned. Hey. Mike Tomlin has an affinity for Maryland. That's where his son goes. And Deonte Banks is the guy that's kind of doing this a little bit. And you have Patrick Peterson. He's going to be there he'll be able to mentor you. That is a very good mentor to have, is to have a all-pro, Pro Bowler corner who's going to end up in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it is April 27th and the Pittsburgh Steelers select Deonte Banks, defensive back, Maryland, what are your initial thoughts going to be roaming in your head?
In this scenario, I'd be okay with, because like I said, top 3 tackles are gone, top 3 corners are gone, and this is the next best corner. Consensus, everyone thinking. I would be okay with this pick. I that'll be a tough decision for me. I don't know what to. I personally wouldn't know what to do if this scenario happened. I would have to really think about it personally.
I mean, that's why we don't get paid the big bucks to do this.
Yep.
My thinking is that they're probably not as worried about tackle because they will have already gotten Taylor Lewan.
No, stop! You're so. You think this is gonna happen? Oh, I can't wait till the draft is over. I don't have to think about this anymore.
Oh, this is gonna be great. All right, number 18, the Detroit Lions. They go with Kalijah Cansey. They double dip on defense. They need help everywhere on defense. Why not? And Kalijah Cansey. Pick. Yeah, I like this pickup a lot. They were 20th in sacks. They were 29th against the run. They were 30th against the pass. They were dead last in total defense. Anything can help. Anything can help.
Mm-hmm.
You drafted Aiden Hutchinson last year at number 2. So now this year, you add more to that defensive line. You added to that secondary in free agency and in the draft. Dan Campbell's going to build something out there in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So wait a minute, okay. Well, I did this. Well, I was literally just getting ready to say I'm surprised that Tampa Bay is not taking Anthony Richardson here. So it really feels like it's going to be a Baker Mayfield versus Kyle Trask battle.
Disgusting.
At camp.
Disgusting.
I am
For the
officially
Bucks.
Jeffrey B. Kirby, am becoming a Baker, bro. That's going to definitely trigger some of my IRL friends who live in Cleveland. That's going to definitely trigger them, but that is kind of the point. Darno Wright though. Okay, I don't know. Maybe it was just because I was so intrigued, thought that they would end up going with a quarterback in this situation. But I mean, sure. Now they were.
Sure.
Now the one thing is nice is like he mentioned, Donovan Smith is gone. Now Darno Wright, like I mentioned earlier, is a right tackle. I don't know if he could play the left tackle position. Are they going to try to move Tristan Wirfs over there? I don't know. Okay, so he moves. So in this case, he says Tristan Wirfs would need to move to the blind side, vacated by Donovan Smith. Okay, I would prefer Tristan Wirfs to go out to that left side. I feel like Tristan Wirfs, back in that 2020 draft, he was by far one of my favorite prospects in that. To me, he was my offensive tackle one in that class. I love Tristan Wirfs, and they gave up the least amount of sacks last year. They only gave up 17 sacks. Now, part of that was obviously Tom Brady getting the football out quick, but that is obviously something you really want to have. And what do? You add to that, and you get Darno Wright, guy that's kind of moving up more and more and more in draft boards, and away we go. Moving on to Seattle. At number 20. Now, this kind of goes into, in a way, it's kind of like how we felt about the Vegas Raiders, how you were so hell-bent on them to get a quarterback here. Now, it's more likely than that this would happen. However, I just don't know how I feel about teams giving someone a 3-year deal, spending a decent amount of change, unless you were talking like when the Packers did that with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. It's like, hey, that was just kind of weird. And B, it's like Aaron Rodgers, you knew was still one of the best quarterbacks, and ended up going and win back-to-back MVPs. Now, obviously, Geno Smith is not that, but I just don't know how I feel about giving a quarterback a 3-year deal just to immediately draft a quarterback there too. I don't know about that.
Yeah. I know it doesn't make sense at all, but I don't know what Bucky Brooks is thinking, but
I mean, and this isn't the first time I've seen this either.
Oh, I bet not.
That's where, like, I
don't think they really trust Geno. So
if you don't trust Geno, why give him the 3-year deal?
Yeah, but
that's my thing. If you don't trust him, why are you giving him that deal?
I don't get paid to answer that, so I don't know.
Like I'm not saying that on you, but I'm like, if that's how they're thinking, it's like that don't make any sense. If you don't trust a guy, why are you investing that kind of money into him?
Yeah, I wish. Like I said,
like, congratulations to Geno Smith. I mean, like, I'm glad that he got paid, but from the organization's perspective, I don't know about that.
Yep, that's right. I don't know.
All right, number 21. The Los Angeles Chargers. Oh, hello. Okay, hello. Bijan Robinson going number 21 to the Los Angeles Chargers. So,
my goodness, this Chargers pick, man. They need help on defense more than anything. Personally,
I'm wondering. So, like, who would you go with in that case? If you were the Chargers and you're looking on defense, I mean, do you look at someone like a Brian Bresee?
Brian Bresee still here too.
Because I mean, Kalijah Cansey is gone. Jalen Carter obviously gone. I mean,
they could use a linebacker. They could use a corner.
But I'm more like the linebackers are weird because it's like there's a good shot that we're not going to see a linebacker go in the first round. But if you were to draft a linebacker, it's like, okay, do they go with a Trenton Simpson, maybe a Drew Sanders? Although
Sanders.
I don't know about the fit there because I think they run a 4-3, and I think Drew Sanders I feel like would be more fit maybe in a 3-4 situation. A corner.
Brian Branch could go here.
Brian Branch. Now, you mentioned linebacker. Remember, they also did get Eric Kendricks.
Well, yeah, they have him. Well,
I mean, I'm just,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I feel like for a team, they were 20th in total defense. They were 27th against the pass, 28th against the run, 22 in points allowed, 32nd in yards per rush. I would think that you would want to go with an interior defensive lineman here, but again, let the Chargers be the Chargers.
Yep.
Let the Chargers charger. Baltimore at number 22, they go with Cam Smith. It seems to be like one of your favorite prospects. Until he gets drafted to the Baltimore Ravens, then you don't like him anymore.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not a receiver here.
It's also
depending on the Lamar situation. I know it's still going on. Dear God.
I just realized, has Baltimore done like anything in free agency?
No.
Like I feel like they have legitimately done nothing, except give the franchise that non-exclusive tag to Lamar.
I think they signed the
Lamar
receiver.
thing is just by the day is just getting more weirder and weirder and more like, what in the hell is going to happen?
That's what I'm waiting on, but I don't think we're gonna have an answer.
We'll see. But in terms of Cam Smith, cool. They were, let's see, they were 26th against the pass. They were middle of the road at interceptions. So, okay, why not? Number 23, the Minnesota Vikings go and get Zay Flowers. So in this situation, going back to that conversation that I was mentioning to you earlier about the whole Will Levis thing.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest team to me, the two teams that I would have to watch out for on whether I would end up being correct or wrong is Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Minnesota has seemingly as of late, been getting more and more mocked to Hendon Hooker. Now, Kirk Cousins has 1 year left on his deal. Kirk Cousins is like the equivalent of leftover pot roast. Now, talking about Zay Flowers, on the other hand, now this pick I like. You will move on from Adam Thielen. You get Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is going to ball out in that offense. They were very good on offense. However, just like how we mentioned earlier with the Chargers, the Minnesota Vikings need help on defense.
Mm-hmm. God, they need help.
They need help. They did get Byron Murphy. They did get Marcus Davenport. Remember that name, Marcus Davenport. To a 1 year deal. Other than that, it's like, they need help. They need help on that defense. They were 31st in total defense, 31st against the pass. They were 22nd in sacks. They were 28th in yards per pass. They were 22nd in yards per rush, and they were 28th in yards allowed. You would think that would equal defense, but I guess that just equals will outscore you instead. And in that philosophy, I don't think that's going to get you as far.
Nope. Definitely not.
Just saying. Number 24, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They go with Bryan Branch. So, I mean, cool. They could use, they're one of those teams that they can use, a little bit of everything. They can not use a little bit of everything, but like they were 24th in total defense, 28th against the pass. So cool. They were 26th in sacks. They were middle of the road at getting interceptions. They're 29th on third down. I think that kind of equals out to you adding some defense.
Mm-hmm.
So why not? Why not get yourself a playmaker who can be very position versatile, has position flexibility, and can really help that defense out?
Oh, yeah, it'd be a great fit for the Jags.
In a division where in this mock draft you would have Bryce Young, Teddy Bridgewater, and whoever the hell the Colts decide to have.
Gardner Minshew,
and you would hope someone else if you're a Colts fan. If not, I would be like, Jim Irsay, Chris Ballard, what the hell are you doing? But number 25, the New York Giants take John Michael Schmitz. Now, this is a guy that you will see from time to time in mock drafts. Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, I forget. He had him taking an offensive lineman. I forget who it was. But you have them going in this mock draft going with offensive lineman. Now, this was one of those picks where for a while they were mocked with going wide receiver. Now it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case as much. Now it seems like they're going more with the interior defensive line. So, as of now, when you look at them, they were middle of the road on offense. They were 26th against the pass. They were 27th in sacks allowed, 22nd on third down. They were 28th in yards per pass. So, I guess if you want to equal that out to helping that interior offensive or that offensive line, then go for it. Then go for it.
Go for it. Do what you got to do.
All right, number 26, the Dallas Cowboys. They go with Bryan Reynolds. Now, it's interesting because I feel like Dallas was kind of, in a way, maybe begging for Bijan Robinson to be there. Like, that just seems like a Dallas Cowboy move.
Oh, definitely does.
But
definitely does.
They go with some defense here. They could definitely use some defense. And, yeah, I don't mind this pick.
Don't mind it at all.
I don't mind it.
But I feel like they want Bijan Robinson more.
I have a hot take.
Oh, boy.
Draft hot take. Dallas Cowboys trade up in the draft to get Bijan Robinson. That's my hot take.
Draft up to take a running back. Interesting.
All right. Number 27. Hey, remember, they took Zeke Elliott 4th overall. They're not afraid to take a running back high in the first round. They might be willing to do that. It's the Dallas Cowboys. They do some weird shit.
Yep.
Number 27, the Buffalo Bills select Jordan Addison, wide receiver from USC.
Why?
Oh, I definitely could think of a reason or two. Their wide receiver core is not as good. In fact, I forget they lost someone on that wide receiver core.
I forgot his name.
And plus to me it was like outside of Stephon Diggs, it wasn't as good as people, than the production that you were getting. And this is, I'm going to get on this early. I'm going to get on this very early. Jordan Addison could possibly end up being the replacement to Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs seems like he's getting a little bit frustrated with the lack of playoff success that they are having in Buffalo in 2020.
Hot take.
Uh-oh.
That's a hot take for you right there.
That is a hot take. In fact, I might actually clip that and put that on Twitter and see where people go with that. And then I could also bookmark that, and then when it happens, well, then I could just be like, oh, hey, here we go. But yeah, the lack of success that they have had, I believe in his first year, they were in the AFC title game. Then the last 2 years that they've been in, they've lost in the divisional round.
Agreed, yep. You're right.
That is a team that is supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. They've been to the AFC title once out of those 3 years. Stephon Diggs is starting to get irritated. He's getting older. I could see him getting to a point where he feels like he might want out. And if that is the case, well, bang, bang, chitty bang, you have Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why. You ask, why would they take a wide receiver? There's your reason.
Okay, no, good. Glad you explained it.
Number 28, the Cincinnati Bengals select Dalton Kincaid. Now, this is one of those picks that, for the first time in a while, we talked about earlier, one of those locked picks. Now, not exactly the player. I mean, Dalton Kincaid.
The position.
But the position, it seems like it is more and more and more like a lock that they go with the tight end here.
Agreed.
They go with Dalton Kincaid. They go with Michael Mayer. That either or. It seems like for the longest of times, it seems like that Michael Mayer was the tight end one. Now it seems like more and more are mocking Dalton Kincaid as tight end one. We shall see. But to add even more to that offense, what more do you need?
Mm-hmm. What more? I don't know, man.
It's
a lock position. Richer. It's a lock position for sure.
The rich get richer. Number 29, the New Orleans Saints. And speaking of the devil and Michael Mayer, they go with Michael Mayer, 29th to the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints are one of those weird teams because it's like you don't know where the hell, like, are they going to be good? Are they going to be mid? Like, are they going to just, like, underachieve and people thought that they were going to be this good team and they end up just underachieving? Like, they're just that team is so confusing.
It's going to be mid. This team's going to be mid.
The battle of mid. That whole division is a battle of mid. That meme that I love using, the battle of mid, that is exactly the NFC South.
Yep.
As of right now, their quarterbacks are Derek Carr, Desmond Ridder. As of this particular moment, Baker Mayfield and Matt Corral. Oh, well, you know what? We'll go with C.J. Stroud. So it'll be C.J. Stroud, Derek Carr, Desmond Ridder, and Baker Mayfield. Holy hell, you want to talk about a battle of mid. Outside of C.J. Stroud. That's my boy, OH. Number 30. Number 30, as my computer had a seizure for half a second. Mozzie Smith going number 30 to Philadelphia. Now, I mentioned this, like I mentioned earlier. I thought that there was the possible shot that they would go with. I would like for them, if Bijan Robinson is gone, for them to maybe consider going with a Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, they double dip on defensive line. If I'm not mistaken, they double dipped on defensive line.
Well, I think it's an edge in defense.
Oh, yeah, they got Lucas Van Ness, and then they got Mozzie Smith. So they double dip.
Double dip.
And you know what? Cool. I don't mind this.
Don't mind it. They need it.
They need to get younger at that defensive line. And how do you do it? When you have 2 picks in the first round, you have the ability to take one of the better edge rushers in this class, and then you get a defensive tackle who is stronger than all get out. You know who Mozzie Smith reminds me of? You remember Dontari Poe?
Yeah, Dontari Poe. Yeah,
Mozzie Smith reminds me of Dontari Poe.
Well, I haven't heard that name in a minute. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And I mentioned, I shot out a text to my Michigan Wolverine expert correspondent, aka Herb. I asked him about that comp, and he said he absolutely loved that comp. So we're gonna stick with it.
Nice, huh? I like it.
All right, number 31, the last and final pick. The reigning, defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They select Aditibawar, an edge from Northwestern. So they want to go and replace Frank Clark. They want to continue. That last year they went with George Karlaftis. By the way, if I butchered that name, I apologize. I Had not had the chance to phonetically spell this
I
out.
have no idea how. Nope, I'm not even gonna try it.
But yeah, last year they wanted to use one of those picks on George Karlaftis. Now this year they go with the edge rusher from Northwestern. So they want to continue to add to that defensive line. Okay, they want to build still. You want to get some guys still around Chris Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when you're Kansas City, you'll have the flexibility to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But, ladies and gentlemen, that mock draft, another one down the books, and another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast is officially in the books. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, smash that like button, hit the red subscribe button, and drop a comment. Go and follow us on Twitter. I am at Jeff_Kirby412. You can see it right there. Right there. And then Jarryd, you can follow him at boss_Sanchez98. Right
that way.
There you go. Right there. Go and follow him on Twitter. And anything else you got to say?
None really. Go Yankees with the win today. I appreciate it. Magic play the Cavs next Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the Cavs, by the way, making playoffs. Thank you very much. The road to the NBA Finals.
I'll be in attendance for that game.
That's what, next Thursday?
Next Thursday.
Okay, so we will probably have to record on a different day, or we might have to postpone, maybe record on like a Friday and then do it on come out on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Or we might record on a Wednesday and then put out on Thursday or something like that. We might. So next week will be a little bit iffy. We'll keep you guys posted on that. But till then, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. For me, I still have to wait an hour or an hour and a half to watch my baseball team play because they want to be all the way out in Seattle, Washington. You want to talk about pain. That is
almost there.
pain.
Almost there.
But till then, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Peace out.